and you got a bad haircut. You know what I ought to do? I ought to blow you two away right now.
We love Hollywood's golden stars for their talent and glamour, but behind the spotlight hid scandals, betrayals, and secrets darker than any script. Today, we reveal the shocking side of classic Hollywood legends. 1. Mickey Rooney. Mickey Rooney's personal life often overshadowed his career. He walked down the aisle 8 times, and in his memoir, Life is Too Short, he bragged about having countless affairs outside of marriage. In 1938, MGM boss Louis B. Mayer even scolded him for his fling with Norma Shearer, which created chaos during the filming of Marie Antoinette. Rooney also wrote that his first trip to a brothel came courtesy of fellow comedian Milton Berle, and claimed he once caught actress Tallulah Bankhead in a lesbian encounter. Together, Rooney and Berle often behaved like Hollywood troublemakers. Rooney didn't stop there. In his book, he revealed personal details about friends and lovers, outing Judy Garland for a same-sex fling and even describing intimate details about his first wife, Ava Gardner. Stories like these show how often Rooney's behavior caused more harm than laughs. Journalist Craig Bennett added more fuel to the fire in his 2019 tell-all, True Confessions of a Shameless Gossip. According to Bennett, Rooney was abrasive, rude, and had a long list of questionable exploits, including an alleged encounter with 14-year-old Elizabeth Taylor while filming National Velvet when he was 24. He also accused Rooney of overusing the casting couch, auditioning young women for roles that didn't even exist. Still, many historians believe Rooney often exaggerated or outright invented his wildest claims. 2. Joan Crawford. If anyone in Hollywood would have eagerly raised her hand when asked who wanted Bette Davis gone, it was Joan Crawford. Their infamous feud during the filming of Whatever Happened to Baby Jane was later reimagined in the 2017 miniseries Feud. Davis reportedly tried to have Crawford removed from the project, but the studio wouldn't budge. When Davis received an Oscar nomination and Crawford was left out, the rivalry erupted in full force. Crawford maneuvered her way onto the Oscar stage as a presenter for Best Director, and in a shocking move, campaigned against her own film. When Anne Bancroft won Best Actress for The Miracle Worker in 1963, Crawford smugly accepted the award on Bancroft's behalf, stealing the spotlight from Davis. The publication of Mommy Dearest in 1978 painted Crawford as a cruel, abusive mother. Written by her adopted daughter, Christina, the book described years of mistreatment. While some of Crawford's other children and close friends denied the claims, her alcoholism, obsessive cleaning habits, and reputation for jealousy were no secret in Hollywood. She was also rumored to have had a fling with Marilyn Monroe and was accused of breaking up at least 2 marriages. Christina alleged that Crawford only adopted children to enhance her public image, pointing out that she was unmarried and arranged the adoptions through questionable channels. In one shocking case, a biological mother reportedly tried to reclaim her child just days after Crawford had brought the baby home. When Joan Crawford passed away in 1977, she left behind an estate valued at around $2 million. 2 of her adopted children inherited $77,500 each, while Christina and her brother Christopher were completely cut out of the will, cementing one last bitter chapter in a life filled with controversy. 3. Bette Davis. As songwriter Kim Carnes once put it, Bette Davis was ferocious, and she knew exactly how to make a professional blush. Producer William Fry recounted to Vanity Fair an unforgettable dinner with Davis and director Herschel Doherty. When Doherty wagged his finger at her, Davis unleashed a verbal storm so intense that half the restaurant emptied out. Once it was over, she calmly returned to her meal as if nothing had happened. On set, Davis often rinsed her famously sensitive eyes between takes. During the filming of Mr. Skeffington, someone tampered with her eye wash, poisoning it. The culprit was never discovered. Director Vincent Sherman later told detectives, "If you lined up the cast and crew and asked who wanted to harm Bette Davis, 100 hands would probably go up." Her career was full of legendary talent and equally legendary drama behind the scenes. 4. John Wayne. John Wayne was famous for his staunchly conservative views, but earlier in his career, he even described himself as both a socialist and a liberal. In 1964, he supported Barry Goldwater for president, despite Goldwater's vote against the Civil Rights Act. Wayne sparked his most heated controversies in the May 1971 issue of Playboy, where he openly expressed beliefs in white supremacy and argued that African Americans shouldn't hold office until they were educated to a point of responsibility. Wayne also spoke out against homosexuality, calling Suddenly Last Summer too disgusting even for discussion, and labeling Midnight Cowboy perverse. Despite this, he surprisingly formed a friendship with Rock Hudson during the filming of The Undefeated, which lasted until Wayne's death in 1979. Even today, his legacy sparks strong reactions. Some film students walk out of classes when his movies are shown. Democratic leaders have pushed to remove his name from Orange County Airport, and Public Enemy famously referenced him in their 1989 hit, Fight the Power. 5. Gene Kelly. Dancer Sid Charisse once returned home from the MGM lot covered in bruises, leading her husband to joke that she must have worked with Gene Kelly that day. However, some claims about Kelly's actions go even further. In 1970, he was reportedly involved in supporting the Provisional Irish Republican Army. Allegedly, he met secretly with IRA leader Cathal Golding during an underground fundraising effort in the United States and handed him a check for £20,000. Kelly supposedly told Golding, "This money is for guns. I certainly don't want it going to any do-gooders." These allegations surfaced after Kelly's death, but his widow, Patricia Ward Kelly, strongly denied them. She maintained that her husband was proud of his Irish roots, was never wealthy, and certainly was not a violent man, painting a very different picture from the rumors that circulated. 6. Bing Crosby. In 1983, Bing Crosby's eldest son Gary published a revealing biography called Going My Own Way, claiming that Crosby disciplined his children with stern lectures and even a studded leather belt. Gary himself was punished when his brothers misbehaved, and the harsh discipline didn't end there. According to reports, housekeepers would give the children a so-called drowning treatment in the bathtub if they talked in bed or woke up too early. Tragically, 2 of Crosby's children later struggled with depression and took their own lives. Crosby's relationships outside the family could also be tense. Despite starring together in 7 road movies, he and co-star Bob Hope were not friends. Hope reportedly told a friend that he simply didn't like Bing and at times detested him. Hollywood has always had its share of difficult personalities, but few fans realize what went on behind the glamorous facade. 7. Errol Flynn. In his 1980 biography, Errol Flynn, The Untold Story, Charles Higham made sensational claims about the famous swashbuckler. He suggested that Flynn had multiple adult relationships and even labeled him a Nazi sympathizer. These accusations relied solely on circumstantial evidence and were later disproven in subsequent biographies. The famous phrase, "in like Flynn," actually comes from a dark chapter in Errol Flynn's life, 3 controversial trials in 1942. Although he was acquitted each time, the scandals seriously damaged his reputation. Flynn's wild lifestyle also took a visible toll, and later in his career, he often played aging alcoholic characters. When he died of a heart attack in 1959 at just 50, the medical examiner remarked that his body looked more like that of an 85-year-old. 8. Lucille Ball. Lucille Ball was a true pioneer of television, breaking boundaries for what could be shown on screen and shaping the modern sitcom. However, behind the camera, she was known to be extremely demanding. Tony Randall once said that Lucy bossed everybody around and didn't spare anybody's feelings, reflecting how tense and exacting she could be with cast and crew. Her intensity wasn't limited to colleagues. In 1979, Richard Burton described her as a monster of staggering charmlessness and monumental lack of humor, even joking that if he had been drinking at the time, he might have reacted violently. 9. Charlie Chaplin. Though his films were silent, Charlie Chaplin's temper certainly wasn't. On set, he was a notorious perfectionist, quick to anger, and could fire crew members at a moment's notice if things didn't meet his high standards. Chaplin's personal life was equally controversial. He married 4 times, often to much younger women. His first wife was 17, his second 16, and at 54, he married 18-year-old Una O'Neill, daughter of playwright Eugene O'Neill, who disowned her over the marriage. Reports suggest he was abusive toward his wives and unfaithful, showing a darker side behind his legendary screen persona. Interestingly, Chaplin grew up in extreme poverty, experiencing hardship firsthand. Yet, as an adult, he reportedly looked down on the poor, often saying that if he could rise from nothing to wealth, anyone else should work hard to do the same. 10. Milton Berle. Milton Berle was infamous for taking other comedians' material, earning him the nickname the Thief of Bad Gags. In 1993, this reputation came into the spotlight during the MTV Video Music Awards when RuPaul called him out. Their interaction, both on and off camera, was tense, and a moment that should have been a smooth handoff turned uncomfortable when RuPaul went off script. Shortly afterward, RuPaul ended their professional association with MTV. Berle also faced trouble at NBC's Saturday Night Live. When he guest hosted in 1979, he tried to dominate rehearsals, upstaged fellow performers, and reused old routines. Lorne Michaels even considered blocking the episode from rebroadcast, though it eventually resurfaced in 2003. This incident shows how Berle's behavior could disrupt the work of others in Hollywood. Movies let us escape and admire stars, but life behind the scenes can be surprising. Should stars be role models, or can we just enjoy their work? Share your thoughts. Who do you think was a jerk in Hollywood? Comment below.